Welcome, Marisa. It is great to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
As Managing Director of Xpatweb, you know what prospective, migrants to South Africa are looking for. So your instincts on these massive changes that are going to happen before we drill down into them.
My thoughts are that it's very positive. I mean, the way it's been framed is very positive, and I think all the suggestions and all the changes that are covered in the paper in terms of attracting talent, looking at economic contribution in terms of foreign talent, attracting foreign direct investment, digitisation, these are all very positive moves from an immigration perspective, and we are very much looking forward to seeing it rolled out.
My instincts suggest government is shifting from maybe a gatekeeper mentality to maybe a more pro-growth strategy.
Spot on, definitely, yeah. I mean, the minister has long said that one of the apex priorities of the Government of National Unity is for economic growth. And so shifting the perspective of the Department of Home Affairs from to become an economic enabler, because they really sit at a very vital point in terms of attracting foreign investment and attracting skills and the direct job growth that comes from bringing skills in. So they're definitely shifting that mindset in terms of how can they enable economic growth as a department. And I think the white paper is testament to that.
Okay, so let's explore it then. And I see the biggest shift is a move towards a point-based model. They're seeking to remove the bottleneck, aren't they? And the Department of Labour is part of that bottleneck. Just explain to us what this points-based system is all about and how you get 100 points to qualify.
Sure. So historically, I mean, the points-based system has already been rolled out, right? So we've already been sitting with the new points-based system for a year. The white paper talks about how it's going to be enhanced and further rolled out to permanent residency and citizenship as well. But if we just look at a work visa basis, historically, when you wanted to apply for a general work visa, you would first need sign-off from the Department of Employment and Labour, which became a very onerous process for employers. And we saw the white paper share some numbers where we saw the numbers of workers coming in on general work visas and dropping significantly lately, and that was because of that stringent process. So that what the points-based system does is it takes the Department of Employment and Labour out of the process, so you go directly to Home Affairs now, and then there's a points-based system which gives an applicant points for qualifications, experience, their remuneration level, are they being employed by a trusted employer, their language ability, and through those various attributes they can make up points. 20 points for qualifications, 10 points if it's a lesser qualification, 5 years experience gives you 20 points, whereas 10 years experience gives you 25 points, and then ultimately you want to make up, like you said, 100 points, which will then allow you to apply for a general work visa. And then I think also important in terms of why is the points-based system such a positive move is it makes it predictable. The applicant can at face value see, yes, I will qualify for this visa, and yes, I can proceed to apply. The adjudicator can immediately see, yes, you meet these points, here's your visa. So it takes the guesswork out of it.
It takes the subjectivity out of it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, if they don't like your face, you don't get it. Was there an element of that as well?
I would like to think not to that extent, but it does. The subjectivity did make it. It depends on the adjudicator. How strongly have you motivated it? How well have you put your point across? In terms of needing this skill in how well did you prove that you've looked for a South African, and so we saw inconsistent results. So in certain instances, a certain position would get the visa, but in other instances not, even if an applicant had similar qualification level, experience level. So it made it very frustrating for employers, as you can imagine, trying to bring talent in.
I want to get to digital nomad visa in a short while, but John has sent us a WhatsApp message, 0725671567. John says, please ask the visa expert about the current extensions to visa not yet processed by the Department of Home, or DHO, specifically a tourist visa 90 days. I suspect maybe just John has a problem there.
Yes. So we are still, unfortunately, sitting with a backlog in terms of the Department of Home Affairs, or a newly forming backlog, which means a lot of visa applications that have been extended have not received their result yet. So the recent concession now has extended that until June 2027. So if you have a visa application pending, you are allowed to legally remain in the country until the 27th of June, waiting for the department to issue your visa. But important, your guest who mentions a visitor visa. So a visitor visa is only valid for 90 days, and you can extend it again for an additional 90 days. So if you are waiting for your visa to be processed, you can stay in the country for that additional 90 days on the concession, but when those 90 days expire, you must leave the country and show that concession at the border on exit, and you will not be declared undesirable. But you cannot stay beyond the 90 days. Very important.
Let's look at the digital nomad visa. Again, some people in my circle that have been awaiting this. Again, very clear requirements before issuing. That does help, doesn't it?
Correct, absolutely. So I think this is also one that we are very excited about. We've seen digital nomad visas rolled out globally, and there's been a lot of positive reporting on how it has had a positive impact on the economy in those countries. So we're hoping for the same in South Africa. I mean, we've got the beautiful Cape Town where lots of tourists come in, and we really want to attract those nomad workers to contribute to the economy while working legally and remotely from within South Africa, and this remote work visa allows for that. It's already in law. You can already apply for the remote work visa, and we are already seeing an inflow of nomad workers into South Africa.
We are exploring the ambit of change coming for visa and immigration applicants in South Africa. It looks very refreshing. It sounds good. It is 10:15, and you're welcome to join in the conversation. You'll be talking to Marisa Jacobs, Managing Director of Xpatweb. She knows exactly where we stand in terms of this white paper, and she can guide you on related questions. In fact, we've got a voice note in from Richard. Let's take Richard's call. Voice note. Thank you, Joe.
Hi, good morning, Clarence. Richard here. Would you ask your guest how I would benefit from what I do here in South Africa and how I move forward with this? I've been here in South Africa now 17 years. I've been married to a South African for 15 years. I'm a skilled person, 35 years experience. I pay tax, I pay UIF, as I have done for 17 years. Is there anything I can take that forward to try and get my citizenship here? Thanks again, Harry, for a good show.
Thank you, Kev. Marisa, you got an answer for Richard?
So, Richard, what I would, if you've been in the country for 15 years, you would absolutely qualify for citizenship. If you're married to a South African, you would absolutely qualify for citizenship. At the moment, citizenship is based on a time-based criteria. So if you've had your permanent residency for 5 years or longer, you qualify for citizenship. So you should absolutely proceed immediately. The changes that are coming in is going to take that automatic qualification away. It's going to mean that if you want to explore citizenship, you're going to have to meet a points-based criteria. And it will be easier because you are the spouse of a South African, but my recommendation would be rather explore it immediately before the changes come into effect. The changes will actually narrow the ability to progress to citizenship rather than making it easier. I hope that helps.
Okay, let's talk about spouses. You've got the qualifying minimum gross income for your digital nomad visa. You got 100 points for that other category visa. What about your spouse? You want to come, you love the country, you want to bring your skills here, but you want to bring your family with. It's not necessarily easy for the spouse, is it?
No, it is not. So, of course, as a worker coming into South Africa, you can bring your family along. You can have an accompanying spouse and accompanying children. But what's been a challenge is for spouses to enter the job market. There is not a direct path to working for spouses in South Africa if they are accompanying someone on a critical skills visa, for example. Globally, we've seen a big move towards allowing spouses to work. The white paper is now introducing that for South Africa as well. Not quite as lenient as we had motivated for it to be, but it's in there, and there is going to be a relaxed pathway for spouses of critical skills visa holders to enter the job market and apply for work visas, also under the points-based system, and giving them additional points for being the spouse of a skilled worker. This is a massive move forward for us, and we're very excited about this.
Let's celebrate that move forward then. Talal writes, hello, can you please tell me, is there a special visa stroke benefits for an investor in property or business?
Definitely. So what we are seeing is there's a business visa which has existed for a long time. But what the new white paper is bringing in is that there will be different tiers and different sector requirements in terms of how much you must invest in order to get a business visa. So definitely relaxing it. The current system is quite rigid. So that is a positive move forward. And then there's this move away from what we currently have as a financial independent permanent residency permit, where you need to show net worth to gain permanent residency. That is going away, but it's going to be replaced with a financial independent visa. And in terms of that visa, you're going to have to show some kind of investment in South Africa, and that's where property investment will come to play. So we're still waiting to see exactly how it's going to be rolled out, but the white paper certainly introduces the concept and will create a pathway for those investing in property as well.
Thank you very much for that answer. Marisa Jacobs is Managing Director of Xpatweb and BUSA representative on the Immigration Advisory Board. So she's there at the coalface fighting for you, Talal. I want to just get a bit of a reality check, if you don't mind, Marisa. Maybe the reality gap. Is there a reality gap? It's a white paper. It is approved. But when will the Department of Home Affairs effectively be able to process these new visa types without the usual backlogs?
So the next step from this white paper is now to actually draft the regulations to bring many of these items into effect, right? The ones that aren't already in effect, like the points-based system and the remote work visa, and the new items. So they need to be drafted and then again approved by Parliament before it's rolled out and actually in practice. I mean, there's not a published timeline, but we've seen a very swift move from the draft paper to the Parliament-approved white paper. I think it's been about four and a half months, which is an absolute sprint in law speaking. So I do believe that there is a appetite from the Department of Home Affairs to move quite quickly in terms of the next steps. So I'd like to think we will see it rolled out quite soon. And then on the second item, in terms of backlog and slow processing times, the white paper also talks a lot about digitisation and how digitisation will be used to process applications more effectively and more timeously. So we are really looking forward to seeing more of that digitisation roll out as quickly as possible to help address the long processing time issues we're currently facing.
Okay, let's take this next voice note. Susanna has sent us this message.
Good morning. I've been married to a South African for more than 20 years. I got my permanent residence on 2009. And now when I wanted to do my ID, they asked me for a verification of my permanent residence. I have the paper, is with the stamp, everything is correct, but they want to verify. And I've been in the process for 3 years and immigration doesn't give me any result because everything is, I'm in Cape Town, but everything they say is Pretoria. So is it something else I could do about it? Because the situation is desperate.
Marisa, hopefully you can help her with a desperate situation.
It's exactly what I've been mentioning is we are unfortunately still seeing extremely long processing times in many instances, and that's why the concession's been extended. This category, of course, is not subject to the concession. You've got permanent residency, so you've got freedom to travel, but the verification definitely is holding back the process of doing an ID application. Susanna, you're welcome to reach out to me directly, and I can talk you through a couple of options. But it is unfortunately a reality, and you're not the only one. We are still struggling with this.
Susanna, you want to get hold of Xpatweb? That starts with an X. Xpatweb. Maybe just they can help you with your issue. I want to talk about that salary barrier, and I don't know if my perceptions are on or not. Guide me. But I get the sense the point system maybe weights high salaries. I think we do need mid-level critical talent. I think we do need entrepreneurs who are building businesses, but they're not necessarily drawing massive salaries. Are we going to just relax that benchmark? Is it necessary?
So the points-based system definitely gives more points the higher you earn. So there's two sort of levels in terms of earning points at salary level. It's not the only criteria. So someone who's highly skilled and with lots of experience and who's not necessarily earning a big salary would also qualify. It's just how the points are made up. What the points-based system does do is it gives flexibility to the department in terms of flexing the items that attribute to the points as and when needed. So where they see that the current points base is still not attracting enough talent and enough talent in the right areas, it is way easier to adjust points than it is to every time go back and try and adjust regulations and adjust law. So the points-based system will certainly give that flexibility, and I do think after it's been rolled out for a period and they can reflect on the talent that's come in, they'll be able to adjust it, right? But you make an important point there, and I do think that it's something that will need to be looked at.
Okay, then the issue around competitive edge, if we compare South Africa to other countries, maybe UK, maybe Australia, or maybe even Mauritius, does this change make us a top-tier destination for global talent, or are we just catching up?
I think we are, we've seen a lot of rollout of points-based systems globally. So this is us drawing our immigration system to be comparable to those global destinations. I think when we look at what issues other countries are grappling with, it's very similar to South Africa. They're also struggling to attract skills. They also struggle with illegal migration. They also struggle to attract investment. So I think this definitely brings us on par. And I think as soon as we can get the digitisation rolled out and have those more predictable outcomes in more predictable timeframes, I think that is absolutely going to move South Africa above and beyond as an attractive destination. Because even though I say we've got long processing times, that is not unique to South Africa. We see exactly the same issues with other first world countries.
Let's just look at the retirement kind of situation. I see financial thresholds for retirement visas are set to rise. Are we offboarding a group that contributes significantly to the local economy in the process? What's the thinking through that?
No, so the retired person visa financial threshold again has not been updated since 2014. So the financial threshold is actually quite low. So it is just bringing that up to standard in terms of what we're doing now. All of the applicants that we see applying in that category actually are way more financially secure than what the category requires. What they are introducing is an age limit, which I do not completely agree with. Other countries do have age limits where you have to be at least 55 years to qualify for retired person visa. We have never had an age limit. We are introducing an age limit now. But of course, we're globally seeing people retiring at younger and younger ages. And I believe that as long as you can financially sustain yourself, you should be allowed to apply for a retired person visa. And so I just want to secondly come back to a point that you made earlier around attracting entrepreneurs. There is a new visa category being introduced called the startup visa, which is exactly to that point, which will have way lower thresholds than the current business visa, which requires you to invest $5 million, which is of course not the case for entrepreneurs. So this startup visa is specifically targeting innovators, young entrepreneurs to come and start their businesses in South Africa and contribute to the economy, which I think is very exciting.